there's a couple specifics maybe, again, that I'd like to just talk to you about. And maybe you could start with, were there things that really stood out to you in the decision that you were like, yes, that's something we need to get a grip on? Or and were there some things that you might say, we could push back a little bit and say, well, we already have this? I'm thinking specifically of the placebo conversation, which comes up all the time. And then also the regulating the therapy angle, or maybe regulating is the wrong word because FDA doesn't regulate therapy. I'm assuming it's similar in the European context, but standardizing the therapy maybe is a better word for that. But what were maybe some of the highlights for you where you saw, yes, that's something that we need to figure out a way to address?
Very interesting question. So again, from a European perspective, and as an organization that together with other organizations tries to set up a trial that tries to solve some of the questions that you are raising. So yes, placebo-controlled trials are demanded, but there are a lot of other trials that could be done, and we're trying in our potential phase 3 to do a comparative trial. So we are comparing against the standard of care, and so we have two branches in the study. So both involve psychotherapy, and on the one side there's an antidepressant being administered. On the other side, there's psilocybin being administered. This is called a health technology assessment study, which is designed to take these therapies into the public health insurance space. And for that, you always need to compare against the standard of care. So that could have easily been demanded by the authorities in the United States. They didn't do that. And then there's some incoherence on the side of the FDA, of course. So they accepted the unblinding rich studies, and they had a conversation for many years, for more than a decade, with MAPS. And so, in a sense, there is some under preparation of the committee on. We accepted that, and because we believe that these drugs have a therapeutic role to play in the market in the future, we accept some of the deficiencies of the study. So that was a little bit unsystematic on the side of the FDA. I don't know why they let it happen like that. We may hear from others about the political stuff that happened in the background. That is one of the things. And then the ongoing topic in psychedelic research about is it psychotherapy, is it not psychotherapy, how much psychotherapy, should we call it psychotherapy? And MAPS has been pretty outspoken about it, but in a, again, European perspective, a way that would be very unwise to do it in Germany, France, Switzerland, some other European countries. They have underdefined their intervention, their psychotherapeutic intervention, and put in a bunch of ideas that emerged in the 1970s, which are not clearly defined and investigated. And so they were opening up to all that criticism that then came out of the committee group without necessarily the need to do that. So there were years in which they could have defined that accompanying intervention much better. Everybody who knows some of our papers, like our principal investigator, Gerd Gründer, he just published, first authored a paper in Lancet Psychiatry with the title "A Psychedelic Therapy is Psychotherapy." Yeah. Of course, this is a very radical position, and others have contradicted. But on our side, opinionated certainly, we are more looking at the intersections of how can we measure that what's happening in psychedelic therapy has similarities to all kinds of psychotherapies, and where are the exceptional effects? Instead of saying there are two things, and we don't know how they work together, which is actually a scientific lie is a little bit too strong, but we have 7 decades of data on psychotherapy research that we can look at and that we can apply now, and it's happening more and more. I see more and more study centers applying questionnaires and concepts from psychotherapy research in Australia, in Germany, in Spain. And also at the Johns Hopkins. So this could have happened a little bit earlier, and defining the therapy better is something that does the whole thing very well.